When I graduated from college, I entered the radio business, and a family friend, Norb Winter, said, look, if you can sell radio advertising, you can sell insurance. And before you know it, I was signing my agent's contract and my NAFA application, and I was entering the business.
He's a very hard worker.
He's traveled all over the country. He's been to the state associations.
He's so passionate about NAFA.
He's goal-oriented, but he makes it our goal instead of John's goal.
He has high moral and ethical values.
The true delight that he takes in watching people grow, in watching them achieve things, and watching concepts grow, it's infectious. You can't help but get swept along with it.
I would have to say that he is one of the most dedicated people I've ever met to whatever cause he adheres to.
He was what they would call a middle child. I mean, he's my kid. He's my son. He's great and wonderful. What else can I say?
Dennis Denning was a baseball coach, a basketball coach that taught me life lessons that have stayed with me all these years. I was always known as Mr. Hustle. I may not have always had the greatest talent. I was never the tallest person, but nobody was going to out-hustle me. And that just translates right to my work. Nobody is going to outwork me. We took a Strengths Finder test or profile. One of the items in that profile had identified me as what they call a maximizer. So whatever I get involved in, as long as I'm passionate about it and I have some success, I usually will go all the way.
It was just myself and John and two people in the boat. He raised up his hand. They interpreted that as being go, and watched John take off the dock but do a somersault, head down into the water. Then he stopped moving. I jumped off of the dock, and when I got to him, turned him over, and he had a gash on his head and his eyes were rolled back, and I asked him, can you swim with me to the shore? And he said, I can't move my legs.
He was completely paralyzed. That's what his father and I saw the first time that we saw him after the accident. I watched him learning how to walk and to just move his body again.
John said, I'm going to run again. And at that point, they weren't even sure how well he was ever going to walk again.
He was, as John is, just very, very determined that he was going to get back. And look at him today. Now he's running marathons, for heaven's sakes.
He's got a spinal cord charity that he has started, a foundation that gives money to people and to research. And so part of his purpose in running the marathons is to raise money. And last year, he was the #1 charity for the Chicago Marathon.
In the last 5 years, twice, because of his disability, he has been our spokesperson for DM, which is Disability Insurance Awareness Month.
He personifies the whole person, the MDRT whole person, in terms of career, education, finance, health, relationships, service, and spiritual. The one that stands out is his relationship with people. He's a great people-to-people person. That he's a star, period.
When he and I would be walking through the hotels, the convention center together and everything, it seemed like every second or third person said, hey John, how are you doing? Good to see you. And John would know their name, and that amazes me because I'm still having trouble remembering my dog's name.
My success was not having a physical office. There's 10 of us here, and then I have 5 outside reps. When you talk about my typical day, it's, I'm generally on the phone.
With a virtual office setup and all the techniques today with your phone and everything, he doesn't even have an office in Chicago. I don't think we've ever had a NAFA president that's never had an office.
I generally am doing conference calls or WebExes. I'm traveling probably 2 weeks out of every month. And I've got some very capable people here that probably know the products and services that we have better than I do. I may know strategies, but they certainly know how to process and get the right product for the client.
We met at the local Mass Mutual agency where I was a career agent. He needed some part-time help So I came in and told him I'd work with him for a couple hours, and 12 years later, here I am.
I have a second home out in Colorado. Every 90 days I take a break. And, you know, it might be for a week, a really long weekend. You can hike, you can bike, you can walk, you can run, or you can just sit down and chill out, kind of sneak away to let the brain breathe.
I moved to Chicago and I stayed with John, and he took care of me and made sure, you know, after college that I landed on my feet, and, you know, to have that support system was incredible. Forever we'll be grateful for his presence and what he has done for myself and Neil and our kids, and you know, it definitely has been a blessing for us.
John is a proven quality, no-nonsense leader with a tremendous capacity to see the big picture, to put the needs of others before his own, and to build consensus among those he is leading.
I'm excited to see him take the helm and lead in his style and continue to tackle the problems and the issues that we face as an industry and as an association.
When John first told me that he was going to make the run for president, I was excited for him because I knew the great things he'd done for Chicago, and I just felt like he could transfer that to national.
Our new secretary, John Nichols.
This is exactly the type of person we need leading our associations, and NAPA is very lucky to have a leader like John Nichols as its next president.
As we look at NAPA and the challenges ahead, I can't think of a person better suited as the president.
I have a lot of confidence in my friend, who's going to be a great leader.
I think it's a good role for him. I think it suits him well. I think this is something that he's very passionate about and has worked very hard for. So I think for him it's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, certainly honored, you know, humbled, grateful. Take the responsibility serious. Remember, I'm that maximizer. You will get everything out of me.